I don't know what I'm going to do today, and that absolutely drives me nuts. I know I had a lazy Sunday a couple days ago, but I wasn't lazy, if that makes sense. At this point in time, I was pretty frustrated, not sure what to do, so my thought was to go ahead and just take some video and maybe take some pictures of some lonely looking streets, quiet moments here in Hibbing, this being the Greyhound Bus Museum. Then I decided to plug in my phone and pull up the latest episode of Shuttertime with Sid and Mac. Now, Shuttertime is my favorite podcast, two wonderful people in Sid and Mac, the host, and they were interviewing one of my favorite photographers currently in Bryan Minear. The guy is amazing, and then this happened.
And welcome once again to this fabulous podcast, Shuttertime with Sid and Mac, and we have a special guest today. Of course, we're going to bore you about Fuji and Fuji because this guy is the big Fuji.
Mr. Fuji.
Mr. Fuji. And I'm not going to pronounce your last name because, dude, I'm just going to wreck it. So it's Bryan, the Fuji guy.
Bryan Minear, if you want to really know.
But first, before we get to Bryan, we want to do a special shout out to our friend Dave.
Yes.
Who's
hi, Dave.
Even though he's having a hard time family-wise, he has started his own vlog on YouTube. So you can go catch. We'll have links to that. So of
course, yeah.
But big hugs to Dave.
Yes.
And keep your head up.
That's right. Shuttertime love coming your way, and sending lots of good thoughts your way, and positive vibes and all that stuff. And another great thing is, even during all this time, he still continues to listen to the show. So we appreciate that more than anything.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave,
very,
you're
very
awesome.
Sweet. Yeah.
Did you hear that,
And
Dave?
he's going to be happy that Bryan's here. So an extra little treat for you, Dave. And you can subscribe for free via iTunes if you haven't done so, and Stitcher. And thanks again, Bryan. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Mac. And
thank you, Sid, and thank you, Bryan. And
yeah. And remember, Dave, we love you.
So yeah, mind completely blown, so much love. And I shared this for my mom. She loved it. So I did this. So I was listening this morning. Hopefully you can hear me. Fired up my phone and was listening to the most recent episode of Shuttertime with Sid and Mac. And imagine my surprise, excited to hear them interview one of my favorite Fuji X photographers, one of my favorite photographers, period, Bryan Minear. And all excited for that. And then one of the first things they do is not only mention me and this YouTube channel and give me a nice plug there, but they also take the time to send lots of well wishes and hugs and thoughts and prayers for my mom and the family and everything that we're going through. And I can't tell you guys, Sid, Mac, Bryan, all of you, I can't tell you how much that means to me. It really, really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, was amazing and so incredibly kind for you guys to do. There's no words I can say to express that. You guys were already my favorite show to listen to in regards to photography, entertainment, anything else. As I mentioned to you in some Twitter messages, I've been listening to you guys for a while, but especially through all of this as we're making some long car trips and things like that down to the hospital with my mom for her chemo treatments and everything else. It's been really good to have you guys to listen to, take along with me, and kind of keep me distracted. And quite honestly, hearing what you did this morning, I'm trying not to right now, although I'm getting a little choked up just thinking about it, but the initial reaction when I heard my name and you guys plugged the vlog and everything, which is greatly appreciated, I was shocked and my jaw hit the floor, and shortly followed by just an overwhelming sense of honor and flatteredness. Might hear the trumpeter swans going over. I mean, truly, I started to cry, and just knowing that you guys were so incredibly kind with that. So I wanted to take just a minute, tell you guys thank you from the bottom of my heart. I still haven't even gone and finished the episode yet because I saw a spot while I was out this morning and just pulled over, wanted to make sure I get a clip of this and add it into today's episode that we're going to put up. It'll go up overnight tonight and you'll see it tomorrow. So truly, guys, again, thank you so much. Thank you for the excellent show. Bryan, I'm excited to hear what you have to say about Fuji. These trumpeter swans are amazing. But anyways, what I was saying, Bryan, your work is amazing, truly an inspiration to me. I love every time I see your images come up in my Instagram feed, and what you do with color and toning is just spot on, man. And I won't ask you how you get that because I'm sure you get asked that a ton, and quite honestly it doesn't matter because you could tell me step by step and your photos would still look like your photos. Mine wouldn't look the same because you bring so much of yourself into that. And coming from the upper Midwest, northern Minnesota, northeastern Minnesota where I'm at, it's always refreshing to also see landscapes where it's not just a big scenic vista. I love seeing that Midwest perspective. So thank you as well, Bryan. Sid, Mac, love you guys. You guys are the best. I really, really, truly appreciate it. I'm going to play the episode beginning here for my mom this afternoon. I've got to go out there for a little bit, and so I want to make sure she hears that and knows that she's got love coming from you guys up in Canada, listeners, anyone else who's sending good thoughts. I appreciate it. We're going to keep battling. I'm going to go take some more pictures. Take care. Alright guys, I'm out here at the Sturgeon River hiking trail, and it's a nice day. The wind's picked up a little bit, shouldn't be too bad. I'm hoping this mic really takes care of a lot of that. So let's cruise up the trail, see if we can find a couple spots, and I want to show you something that's pretty cool about shooting in the fall on these real gloomy, cloudy days. Let's go. Okay, guys, I promised a couple quick tips on photographing landscapes and fall foliage on a cloudy, gloomy day like this. Number one thing that this kind of a day does for you when it's really flat and overcast is it makes those colors look extra vivid and extra bright in your pictures. Reason being is that on a bright sunny day, the sunlight comes down and it hits those leaves, and there's actually throwing a lot of reflection off, which kind of washes out the color a bit. So that's reason number one why I absolutely love taking photographs, landscapes, even portrait work. When I do that, I love these kinds of days because there's still some directionality in the light, but it's like having a giant softbox. It's just really super, super soft light. So that is reason number one why I love these days. The second reason, like I touched on with that soft light, is that you can control your scene much easier. You don't get quite as much of a punchy look or real contrasty look. It's a soft light, it's even. You'll still find shadows, but you can photograph a scene like this with a lot of the trees and the sunlight, which on a bright sunny day might end up being pretty hard to adjust the exposure for, with the brights being way brighter than the darkness and the shadows. So that's number two. Number three, a bonus tip. If you want to take up the, I don't know what you'd say, wow factor of your images, wait for a day like today when you've got a little bit of a mist happening, or just after rain or something like that, when the leaves are all wet and everything's all wet. That will take the vividness and punchiness of your image and the brightness of these colors and really bring them out to the forefront some more. And that's with the wetness, it just kind of makes everything more vivid, especially when it's soft light and all that water on everything isn't reflecting the big bright sunlight shining overhead. That will do, as they say in Spinal Tap, it will bring your pictures up to 11. Bad impression time. Anyway, you might be able to see over my shoulder here, there's a maple tree over here that's still showing some of the golds and reds and oranges. And I'm going to try and go take some pictures of that. But in the meantime, get out on these cloudy days. You won't regret it. And the pictures are going to come out absolutely stunning because the colors are going to pop that much more. Guys, I forgot there's one more tip I meant to give you about shooting with these flat, cloudy sky type of days when you're trying to get those fall colors. The big thing to remember, even though you're going to get all the boost in color, the soft light and everything else, just remember that that sky up here, as we're seeing, is really flat. So any scenes that you would normally photograph that are going to feature the sky prominently and show, you know, big puffy clouds and a big blue sky, or maybe big dramatic storm clouds, things like that, those types of scenes just are not going to work well for you on a day like today. It's not saying it's a hard and fast rule that it's horrible if you have sky in your pictures on a day like today. Just keep it in mind and know that it's not going to add a lot to the picture. You know, there's no sky police that are going to come, you know, break down your door if you have a picture showing sky. But remember to keep looking down, because when you're going to see those colors and that boost in vividness and everything, that soft light, that sky is doing nothing to add to your photo. And the rule of thumb is always try and keep simplifying things down in your pictures, so that way when the viewer looks at it, it's simplified down to the basic elements in that scene that tell the strongest story and give you the strongest composition. And if there's something that's not adding to the scene, that means it's distracting from the scene. So best case is there to just try and eliminate it as best you can. So keep those eyes downward. I mean, not at the ground like this, but you know what I mean. All right, guys, what can I say? That's the end of the day. It started off pretty slow and pretty uninspired. Excuse me. I had plans for a project which actually I might still work on, because I think it'll be a good type of a shoot and really kind of a neat story to tell, because the area I live in is such a small area. Even though Hibbing is one of the larger towns in the region, it's really a pretty small area, so might still do that. But after a slow start, I got that news, as you saw, when I turned on and listened to Sid and Mac on Shuttertime. Fantastic conversation with Bryan. I really loved every minute of that show. In fact, I plan to give it another listen, because there was just so much good stuff in there. And honestly, a little bit of fanboy geeking out, listening to some of my favorite people have a discussion. So anyways, I want to thank Sid and Mac for allowing me to go ahead and use a clip of their show where they mentioned the stuff and well wishes and everything for my mom. There I went, looking at that darn camera. My bad. But I want to thank them for letting me use that clip. And please, guys, do yourself a favor. Go check out Shuttertime with Sid and Mac. Get the episodes there. Subscribe to them. Rate, review. Give them whatever feedback and following you can, because you won't be sorry. These guys put on an excellent show. It's always full of information, entertainment, and it's not a typical photography podcast where it's just, listen to me, I'm some art expert and I'm fancy and I know how to do everything. These guys are real people. They're honest and they're kind, and they are some of the coolest individuals I have had the pleasure of speaking with. So major kudos to you guys for that. So with the rest of it, I hope you guys got something out of the fall color tips I gave you on a cloudy day. I didn't want to beat you over the head with it too much, and I shot a ton of photos today. And honestly, I'm thinking what I'm going to do is maybe do kind of a special edition vlog, because I've got some scheduling issues this week where it's going to get pretty busy. As far as any other housekeeping, Mac, I know you were asking me on Twitter whatever happened with the mystery of this bicycle that was left against my garage. If you missed it, check yesterday's episode and you'll see a short clip in there towards the beginning, I believe, where I show footage that someone had basically dumped a bicycle, leaned it against my garage in the alley, and left it. It sat there for a couple days. Well, mystery is solved, I guess, in as much as I'll ever know. I have a good friend of mine that I grew up with, childhood friend, that works for the Hibbing Police Department, and was able to touch base with him. And he told me when he worked last night, he'd swing by. He came by, picked it up, threw it in the back of his SUV, brought it down to the station. They hold on to it, I guess, for I don't know how long, to see if anyone has turned in or called in a claim for a stolen or lost bicycle. And after that, if no one claims it, I don't know what they do with it, if they send it to an auction or something, he said, maybe, or whatnot. So, like I told you, Mac, sorry, it's a pretty anticlimactic story, but mystery solved. The bike's gone now, so it's not there, and I didn't have to deal with trying to get it to the dump. Last bit of information, I know I've picked up a few new subscribers, and you guys stick with me. learning this whole process as I go, and hopefully you guys find these entertaining enough to want to stick around after Sid and Mac went out on the line and gave me such a nice plug there. And I can't say enough. Today, this is all about just being completely blown away, completely floored, and honestly very, very humbled. So Sid, Mac, I appreciate it. Bryan, same to you, and I appreciate the Instagram conversation we've had today as well. I look forward to working with you on the stuff we talked about there. So very cool. I appreciate it. And I think with that, you guys know the drill. Subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Leave any feedback in the comments. Oh, one last thing I forgot. Make sure you guys watch all the way through the end of the credits, I guess you'd say, that montage with me walking out, giving my website and stuff, because I've kind of been having fun with taking some of the little outtakes or funny moments, picking one of them and sticking them at the end. Stick around for the credits, see what goofiness or shenanigans I'm up to there, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks again for following. I know I'm like a ADD with a, oh look, a squirrel. And then I would say, man, stumbling bumblebees. I'm just a walking fountain of knowledge today. Jeez.